During the last years, image of the cities has been disappearing. There is growing enthusiasm for improving the quality of public spaces in the Czech Republic among the citizens as well as architects. Many historical centers, squares, and other public spaces have been reconstructed and revitalized. A public space consists of a substantial part, which is the material and spatial part, a non-substantial part, meaning scenic or ephemeral part. In this project, the relationship of both of these parts is explored and interpreted. During the 70s and 80s of the last century, there had been 400 new art objects erected in public spaces in Prague. This was facilitated also due to the fact that 4% of each budget for a public project had to be invested in permanent public art. After the Velvet Revolution in 1989, there had been about 70 new sculptures installed in Prague. Considering their location, significance for Prague, and their mediator functions in public spaces, 8 of them were chosen. The Time Machine, 25 meters high with a weight of 7 tons, is situated on the axis between Old Town Square, the business street Pařížská, and Czech's Bridge. In 1955, the biggest group monument in Europe, dedicated to Josef Vissarionovich Stalin, was unveiled on this same place. That sculpture was destructed 7 years later. The remaining large original pedestal reminds us of this part of the history. Similarly, as the Stalin monument, the Time Machine has significance for the whole city of Prague. Life is very present here. The site is most popular among the skateboarders who call it simply Stalin.
Once I came and it was working, but it was making a lot of noise and people were complaining like, we cannot appreciate the view, it makes...
To místo právě tam u toho kivadla je nejzajímavější právě díky tomu, že tam se děje jakoby trochu i ten život, že tam prostě jsou ti skejťáci. A já tancuju break, takže vlastně tam taky chodíme s klukama jako tancovat a tak.
Nevadí mi to nějak, líbí se mi ten Stalin takový, jaký je. Stalin plec.
The memorial of the second resistance movement has the form of torn but standing national flag. It is placed on the bridgehead of the Manes Bridge over the river Vltava under the Prague Castle. The original winner of the competition for this memorial was a known Czech sculptor, David Černý. However, due to some of his presentations in the media related to this project, Vladimír Preclík, the second winner, was awarded this work. A concept of the memorial of the second resistance movement, not typical for modern sculptures, is quite simple and readable for most observers. Its large pedestal in the form of a cone seems to be a problem. It is neither possible to step or sit on it, therefore it does not encourage people to stop in this public space.
Tak je to střed Prahy, že jo, tady ta historie byla, druhá světová válka tady proběhla, tak určitě to se patří.
Je to moc vysoký, tak povýšen nad tím prostorem a vlastně to do něj nepatří. Nenapadá mě třeba místo, kde by byla lepší, ale pokud to vím, že stojí tady, tak nevidím nějakou přímou souvislost s tímhle místem. To, co tady mělo stát vlastně od Davida Černýho, se mi třeba zdá mnohem lepší, protože to právě bylo jako zapojený do toho prostoru.
The memorial to the victims of communism consists of 7 bronze figural sculptures located on the sloping stairs. It is situated at Malá Strana on the foothill of Petřín Park on the axis of Národní Avenue and Vítězná that connects Malá Strana with the city center on the right bank of river Vltava. A concept of the memorial symbolizes not only suffering of political prisoners, but also their staunchness and bravery. Identical man figure is step by step destructed until only the legs are left on the 7th figure, but even the last one is still standing. The memorial is inserted into the park and almost disappears into the greenery. It is visible only from close proximity. It is necessary to make some effort to reach this memorial. Its observers have to climb stairs to see it.
Rapidní změnu, když se to tady postavilo, jsem nepostřehl. Asi bych si spíš všimnul věci, která mi tady vadí, tak ty bych si všimnul mnohem víc, než věci, která mi sem pasuje. Měla by tady být žena, ale co jakoby já vnímám, tak lidi nahotu ženských berou absolutně jinak, než nahotu mužských.
Akože mne to nevadí, ale podľa mňa je to úplne jedno, či je ten človek nahý, alebo by bol oblečený, ten význam by bol taký istý. Že pod tlakom toho komunizmu, že stále z toho človeka ubúdalo.
The Franz Kafka monument is composed from two figures, a large walking figure and a man sitting on the shoulders of the large figure. The inspiration came from one of Kafka's novels, Description of a Struggle. It is placed on the boundary between the Jewish district Josefov and Old Town, where Dushny and Vězeňská streets cross each other. This part of the center has a specific atmosphere and attracts crowds of tourists. Franz Kafka Monument is a real mediator of the public space. From this crossroad, it in fact creates a square. Most people stop here and look at this monument instead of just passing by. The significance of the Franz Kafka Monument is citywide and even international due to the outstanding personality of this famous writer.
Kafka was an important person.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so it should be here.
The thing that I am enjoying the most about Europe, that you have so much sculpture, and we do not have that in the United States.
I came here for the Jewish quarter, so I just saw it crossing the street. It makes the place better.
Well, my father had a book about Franz Kafka. I read some pages about it, but it was a bit boring. But I know the name, but I don't know the monument. So maybe these days in Prague, I'm going to learn more about him.
Milada Horáková Memorial is composed of a stone pedestal with a stele, and there is a bronze bust on the top of it. The pedestal carries some additional information, namely the list of victims of the communist regime. It is situated in Hrdinu Square, in the park in front of the building of the Supreme Court and Pangrad's prison. Milada Horáková was active in the resistance during World War II. She was known for her open criticism of communist practices and of their takeover of power in 1948. She was executed in 1950 after a staged political trial. The park is, however, separated by a major highway from the Supreme Court building, so it does not seem to be really connected with it. From this point of view, the location of Milada Horáková Memorial is rather questionable, and it does not seem to attract much interest.
Kdyby tady nebyla ta magistrála a ten park vypadal jako před těma 40 lety, nebo kdy tady ta magistrála nebyla, tak by to bylo lepší místo. Ta socha samotná je podle mě malá. Měla být lepší a větší. Jako jestli průměrný kolem jdoucí si všimne, že tam je Milada Horáková, myslím si, že určitě ne.
Milada Horáková byla popravena tady na Pankrátské věznici, takže je to asi správně a chodím tady často a vidím kytky, jako, že bývají často na tom náhrobku, takže jako lidi si toho asi všimli.
The horses consist of 3 bronze sculptures in a water cascade. Every horse is in a different movement phase. The surface of sculptures is smooth and decorated with short lines following the main shapes. The sculptures of horses are placed in the space created by the intersection of the streets Vichterlova and Kafkova in the old part of Davice. The sculpture is the reminiscence of the time when horses were the main means of transportation. A concept of these simple horses without riders brings informal atmosphere and a feeling of the image of the landscape. The significance of the sculpture is local, And its aim is to make this square more attractive, especially for the inhabitants of the Prague 6 district.
Ty koně jsou zajímavý. Kdyby to podle mě ty koně nebyly, tak je to jako pěkná fontána, stromy fajn, ty koně jsou zajímavý, dávají tomu jako, je to něco nezvyklého. Každý, koho znám, kdo tady je třeba poprvé, tak hned říkal, tyjo, to jsou koně, co tady dělají koně.
To přijde jakoby, že to docela ozdobuje to náměstí, že bez toho by to bylo takový obyčejný jenom s těma fontánama. Třeba jako, jak jsem byla na staré škole, tak to hodně lidi říkali, půjdem ke koni nebo tak.
The Memento Mori is a permanent sculpture installation which looks like an ordinary streetlight standing in the park under the Nuselský bridge close to the Vyšehrad Castle. The upper part of the light is transformed. The light stand is bent so that the lamp is looking up. Spanning above the park is the Nuselský bridge, built in 1973 as a part of a major traffic easing project. During 40 years of its existence, more than 200 people committed suicide by jumping from the bridge into the valley below. Memento Mori symbolizes hope. A concept of this sculpture is smart, yet unspectacular. The park is popular among the local inhabitants as it provides sports facilities, restaurants, and other leisure facilities. The rest of the space just under the bridge seems to be neglected and ignored.
Jako my, než jsme si o tom přečetli někde, tak jsme o tom nevěděli, nevšimli jsme si toho a chodíme tu jako furt.
Já jsem si toho všiml, ale nenapadlo mě, že to je jako za nějakým účelem. No. A vždycky jsem si říkal, proč to takhle je, že to je nějaký vandalismus.
Mám takový dojem, že jsem si toho hned všimnul. Každá takováhle věc je dobrá, no. Takový to vytržení z té reality a zamyšlení se, že něco může být i trošičku jinak, než je ryze účelový.
No mně to přijde takový jako, že je to takový světlo pro ty lidi třeba, který, kdyby tam bylo, třeba by neskočili.
The cloak of conscience has the form of a cloak covering a sitting hump figure. The figure itself, however, is missing. Only the shape of the cloak remains. It is placed in front of the Estates Theatre in the Old Town. The Cloak of Conscience was created as the commemoration of the premiere of Mozart's opera Don Giovanni in 1787. It is also sometimes called Il Commendatore. Location of this sculpture, closely linked to the Old Town Square, is a problem in relation to the building of the Estates Theatre. The sculpture is away from the entrance of the theatre, and even though it attracts attention of most people passing by it, it neither enhances the entrance to the building nor compete with it.
It's probably not representative of the period that it was, the building was built in, but I think it's part of the arts and that's the whole purpose of the building.
Já nevím, jaký má plnit účel, jestli tam má být právě tak skrytá, jako je skrytý v té kápi, tak je skrytá dobře. Pokud by měla být vidět, tak bych jí dala trošku tam na to prostranství. Pro mě to fakt bylo, že když jsem šla okolo, tak já jsem si vlastně nevšimla, když jdu tím směrem.
You've got an ice cream shop there or a ticket shop, and then you've got that beautiful sculpture. I think the fact that you find sculpture in the most unexpected places, I think that's the beauty of Prague.
A sculpture can be seen as a mediator of communication between sight, city, time, and the observer. The object of this camera exercise was to determine if a specific sculpture serves as an efficient mediator within the public space and can return back disappearing image of the cities.